The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Thank you for joining us today. I am your host, Bill Knapik. I'm assembled here with super people, super real estate professionals. We're going to put forth a tremendous show for you today. As always, I'm reminding you to go to stewart.com/radio. That's stewart.com/radio, where you can not only see the show and hear it, you can also go to the show archives by going to stewart.com/radio. It's time to talk to Shelly Green. Her company is called Anchored Properties. Shelly, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And it's so awesome. First of all, the name of your company, Anchored Properties, that really rings a bell. So let's tell people about your company.
Okay, so it started as Anchored Restorations. Actually, I still run Anchored Restorations. So my husband and I purchase investment properties through Anchored Restorations, and we actually started Anchored Properties Group and began adding agents. And really that just came from trying to serve our clients better so that we could do investment properties and serve clients as well for buying, selling, and investing. And then through that, we actually have an extension of Anchored Women Entrepreneurs as well, where it's a group where we mentor women in business, not just real estate, but any business that they want. You know, we offer mentoring and marketing and just tips for how to grow a business.
So many real estate bases that you're covering. It's fascinating. So it sounds like you're in the investment world, maybe even flipping properties and so forth?
Yes. So I say I'm an investment realtor. So that's just because I have a desire to invest. I see where the world of real estate has opened up a lot of doors for investment wealth opportunities, things I just never thought were possible, and just experiences to grow wealth through real estate. And so that's just something that to me is very exciting, world of opportunity.
Well, would you say, Shelly, that as real estate, in a way, things go up and down, conditions change, the dynamics change in real estate all the time?
Absolutely.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say during any of those circumstances, there's always a way to invest and to do well if you know what you're doing?
Yes. So actually, I invest when most people are not. And I've learned that just fairly new. I mean, I've only done this for 5 years, but when I first got into real estate, it was COVID, and everybody was like, oh, you can't, be a realtor in COVID. You can't be an investor in COVID. And even though we had delays, that was where I actually mastered a slow flip, which is where you invest in a property and you hold it, and you make money, to cover your mortgage or your expenses, and then you sell it. And that was after COVID. And so we had, great opportunities for equity investment at that time. And then again, now, you hear a lot of bad news about this market shift, and although lending
interest rates, right.
Lending has been a challenge, I have been able to build relationships with private money investors and other investors who, want to help out with the deal, and the financing options are just creative, and in a way you still can invest, but that's the fun part about real estate is it's really just problem solving.
Well, give us a quick word on the slow flip. First of all, that I'm thinking barbecue all of a sudden, maybe because I'm going to have to cook things slow.
Yes.
But tell us about the slow flip in real estate. Just a word on that. We'll talk about
So
these other
I
things.
just did that by accident, really, because we bought properties, and then because they weren't selling, or because, the price of materials had gone up significantly.
Right.
So, we weren't going to get the return we thought. So we had to change our exit strategy, where we just basically rented it out for a little bit or leased it. And then when, after we did that for about a year and another one for almost 2 years, we were able to sell it and get significantly, more dollar at the end of the day because of the equity.
Well, the other thing I'm thinking about as far as the timing, it was hard to get materials, and it was also hard to find people to do the work, I'm imagining.
And city permits
So
were an issue just because in some of the smaller cities that we did that in, they might have one inspector, and he wasn't going to come meet you in person because of COVID. And so, we had some delays in that area too, where we just couldn't work for some of the time.
So in spite of that, you were successfully investing.
Yes, I would say so.
All right. In our current market conditions right now, high interest rates and even some other factors, how are you finding the investment part right now, and what kind of investments are you looking for?
So actually, probably my best investment right now is a short-term rental. And that has just kind of worked out because I think, too, even after COVID, people prefer houses over hotels. And so that has been something that our Airbnb or our short-term rental has been booked solid for the 2 years we've had it. I mean, very, very rarely do we have a vacancy.
So in those 2 years, and the average stay in your Airbnb, a couple days?
Yes, anywhere from, 2 days is the minimum. So anywhere from 2 days to 8 or 9 days.
So in a 2 years period, this place has been...
Yes, so much so that we even had a guest that we had to send to a hotel because we did have our pipes burst on Christmas Eve. It always happens, on the holiday, and that's part of just property management too. You've got to be prepared for those things. But in that way, it's been something that has helped bring in consistent passive income while we're managing flips and in between different investments.
And each one of these challenges, like anything in life, makes you a better investor, it helps you be more nimble so that when the next challenge comes along, it's, hey, no big deal.
Yes.
We've covered that, and here we are.
Yes, because everything costs more and takes longer, and every transaction or property is different.
Now, also, are you helping buyers and sellers that someone may say, hey, I just want to buy a house, Shelley?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, this to me, because I do like the problem-solving part of this, so this isn't just about buying and selling. It's about how are we going to help buyers who need to buy right now? What are we going to do to help them get into a property? And so the things I'm seeing right now that are benefiting buyers is having good lender partners who do buy-down rates, or who, we can offer. We're actually, even on the list side, almost every transaction has either gotten a new roof or has given back some seller concessions. And in that way, that could be a great benefit for a buyer right now.
I had the feeling you like problem solving. You're radiating problem solving energy right now, and that's exciting.
It is exciting.
So as you are helping buyers and sellers, how many of the, let's say, buyers, do people come to you, and I would imagine they do, and say, hey, Shelley, I want to learn how to invest too. I already have a house I'm living in, but let's say I want to buy a house for something else, maybe short-term rental, maybe a lease, a year or two. But what if they just say, hey, I want to buy a house, use it for 6 months, and then turn around and sell it and make a little profit? Do you coach people with that?
Yes. So really it goes back to that, just where we sit down and what is their goal, what is their need, and, just telling them sometimes everybody thinks investing is this just great, really fun and wealth building, and all that is great, but it's some nitty gritty hard work too. And so you have to be smart about what you're investing, what type of investment are you going to do, what is the outcome, and then being flexible, because I have, even when I learned how to do the slow flip by accident, we intended to have that property done in 3 months, and that 3 months turned into 18 months. And so I had to figure out a way that I was going to be able to benefit us as investors, but also how could I help, someone in my community who may need a place to stay.
So as we speak, or after the show, are you looking for other investments as you're helping buyers and sellers,
Always.
but even for your own business of the flipping and investing, you have your eyes open?
Yes, always looking. A lot of the flips, so to speak, that we've gotten have been from relationships or people we know, and they're either moving out of state, or somebody's passed away, or they've inherited a property, and so they'll come to us, and we've been able to help them out of a situation where they didn't or weren't able to care for that property anymore. We were able to come in, and it was kind of a win-win situation for them. They made some money, we made some money, and we solved a problem.
There's the slow flip. Is there a fast flip that you have been a part of?
I think the fastest flip I've ever done was completed in like 5 weeks.
So you bought, let's take this one for example. You bought a property and you needed to fix it up?
Yes. It was finished in 5 weeks.
Was it an extensive work, or How would you classify that?
So it was a smaller home, which helps because everything's priced per square footage pretty much for labor and materials. And so, as far as, some needed things, new sheetrock, new roof, we did all new siding on the outside, and then changed out the kitchen counters and things like that. So it was pretty much a full flip in 5 weeks. And, the problem with that was, there's a 90-day flip rule. If a buyer is using lending to buy a property, you have to have had it for 90 days before you can sell it. So we were finished with that one, but they were using a lender, so we did have to stay under contract for a little bit until their lender would close the deal.
So then I'm guessing you listed it with Anchored Properties?
Actually, that was before I was a licensed real estate agent. I was an investor. So I actually had a realtor friend that listed that for me.
But then you sold it and you did well on the investment?
Yes. We doubled our money on that one.
Unbelievable. That is awesome. Well, we're talking with Shelly Green. The company is Anchored Properties. Where did you come up with the name, by the way?
So I told you it started with Anchored Restorations, and it really was a career change for me. I was in school. I was an educator for 13 years and started flipping houses after, redoing my own property that flooded in Harvey, redoing my in-laws' property that had a house fire. So my husband was like, why don't we try flipping houses? And so, I prayed about it, and so that formed Anchored Restorations. And so then when I started I first added a buyer's agent just to help me with the load that I was building up through relationships. And that's where I got Anchored Properties Group.
Well, I would think it's one of the things you've learned, of the many things you've learned. If something ever goes wrong in your own house, it's no big deal. You and your husband will be able to get the job done, I'm guessing.
Yes. Real estate can provide a lot of opportunities. And you said, I'm sure you have buyers who come to you and say they want to invest. I do have a lot of people who say that, but very few actually do it. And I just think it's crazy to me because even though I may not be where I want to be even after, it's definitely not HGTV, but it's been very exciting and rewarding to be able to invest in something and see a return on it and also be able to help other people.
Shelly, how can people reach you?
They can reach me. My personal phone number is 281-222-8389. And you can find us at anchoredproperties.org or anchoredaw@gmail.com. That's for the entrepreneur group. If you're a woman in business and interested in learning more about how to start a business, then you can reach us there.
The phone number again is
281-222-8389.
Shelly Green. Shelly, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's welcome Velvet Harris. Her company is the Velvet Harris Group with Better Homes and Gardens. Velvet, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
It's always fun to talk real estate, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I bet you do that a lot.
I do it a lot.
First of all, Velvet, let's tell people about your company and your group.
So I have a small group with Better Homes and Gardens. I have a buyer's agent that works with us, and then my son is our team lead. I'm the team lead. He's the team manager, and he's been with us for about 4 years. My buyer's agent has been with us about 2.5 years.
And give people an idea of, let's say, even in the last 10, 20 transactions, what part of Houston you serve the most, at least lately.
Lately, we have been probably anywhere from the west side on up to the northeast side. We've been staying north more than anything else, I think. Spring, all the way around Tomball, Cypress, Katy.
Well, the area that you're speaking of, for those that are listening outside of Houston, that's pretty much the northwest of Houston's a pie, that north from 9 o'clock to 12,
Correct.
so to speak. And that's the area that you're speaking of, Velvet, is very exciting right now and growing like crazy. Let's tell people about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of growth going on, a lot of new construction communities, especially up north, even up towards Conroe. There's a lot of new construction communities going on up there. But headed out towards Magnolia, way past Woodlands, and then out west past Katy.
And right now, are you helping more buyers or sellers?
We have more buyers currently. We have had for the last couple of months. We do a lot of sellers. We have heavy listings, but lately we've just had a lot of sellers looking to buy anywhere from first-time home buyers on up to empty nesters. those looking for larger homes, even for a growing family. So we run the gambit lately with a lot of different types of buyers.
And especially in certain areas of Houston, we hear about inventory situations. There's not enough inventory.
Right.
How are you finding the inventory levels right now?
It's difficult. There's no matter where you go and no matter what type home you're looking for, inventory is difficult. There's inventory for what you're looking for can be overpriced. It can be in need of repairs. I showed homes all afternoon yesterday, and probably 1 out of 5 homes was move-in ready, unfortunately.
Only one?
1 out of 5, I'd say, on average. So that has been the difficulty a lot with finding something that is affordable for the buyer where he doesn't have to do a lot of repairs. They're looking for something that's turnkey, just because of the high price and the high interest rate.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And a lot, well, like you're saying, as far as the price points, let's take the Cypress market, right?
Right.
In Cypress, if someone wanted a, quote, nice home, maybe 2,500 square feet in Cypress, what's kind of the average beginning price there?
For 2,500 square feet,
Give or take,
that's move-in ready, you're probably looking around mid to high 3s at best.
That's not too bad, really.
Mm-hmm.
And Cypress is such a nice area,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, it also has homes that are much more expensive as well.
Correct.
Let's tell people about the range. How far do they go up there in price in the, let's say, Cypress area?
Well, for resale, for that size home, you can start anywhere, like I said, mid to high 3s. But if you get into new construction, you're going to go on up into the low to mid 4s for that size, for square footage.
And as far, you mentioned new construction, because I know I go up and down 99 for some reason, a fair amount, and there seems to be so many trucks
Right.
and homes being built on either side of that 99.
Yes,
so
for sure.
a lot of it's new construction, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. And new construction builders are offering a lot of great incentives. A lot of them are offering to help buy the rate down. They're negotiating on the price. They're offering incentives, which is really helpful for buyers. And it's really helpful with the low inventory that buyers can go to new construction and get some great incentives. So a lot of buyers are moving towards new construction. It's new, of course. They don't quite get the square footage that they might get for the price, but of course they get new and they get all the goodies.
As Velvet, as we're here in the last, I might even say last couple of weeks of the year, which we are,
Mm-hmm.
what do you see? How do you think the year is going to finish out for your team in particular?
For our team, I think we'll finish strong. We look like we're going to finish strong. We're hearing that the interest rate may not go up again, so hopefully that's the case. Home prices do continue to increase at a really small pace, a fraction of what they were increasing before, but they do show that they have continued to come up. The holiday season will probably keep things from being too busy, but we usually do stay active during the holidays, especially with relocation. A lot of the big oil and gas companies, insurance companies, and medical, they'll move folks a lot during the holidays because school is out. It's easier to get things or get folks relocated during that time. So we do stay pretty active during the holidays. And then after the first of the year, I'm reading from NAR and also from Alto's research that they expect home buying to increase and things to be a little more active after the first of the year.
Kind of like a rally might even occur.
Hopefully.
Well, as far as, and also with your company, Better Homes and Gardens, when you all have meetings, assuming that you do, what are
Right.
some of the things that you're talking about from the corporate level where they say, hey, here, be on the lookout for this, or any kind of guidance they mention?
Yeah, well, they're asking us to continue marketing and to continue, going back to the basics, to offer the same customer service level that we always have, and to, remind our clients that we're here for them and that, we offer options as far as lending. There's lots of lending options for buyers, and to continue to keep our clients informed of what's going on in the market for our sellers and for our buyers so that they understand what's happening and how we can help them work through the process when they are ready to buy and sell in this type of market.
And you've been in the real estate world, I hear, for quite a while.
20 years, yeah.
20 years, 2 decades of service.
Can you believe it?
And what was it about real estate that brought you into the fold?
Well, I was in sales for quite a while, selling all kinds of different widgets before I got into real estate. And when I did start, it was really for the customer service aspect of it. And I had no idea the difference that real estate is. Real estate is very different. It's not the same as other sales. You're working with folks' emotions, as well as their money and what they're looking for as far as their family and their needs, and it becomes a passion really for you as a realtor to be able to help these folks get what they want and what they need as far as their timeline in their life and what they need based on what they're selling and what they're buying. And it's very interesting. Every deal is different. No 2 deals are the same, so it keeps things very exciting. But it's also a privilege to help these folks get what they are looking for as far as a buy and a sell. And it keeps things exciting, but it's also fun to get to know these people and get to be friends with your clients and make new friends all the time, but to serve your clients with what they're looking for and in the end help them achieve their goal.
And it's interesting, but it's such an important role that you play
Right.
in with an individual, a couple, and or family, especially when you talk about a family maybe with young children. The schools become so
Very important,
their
right.
needs, their likes. It's very complicated. How do you keep your sanity in the process, because you're dealing with so many things, let alone the complexities of the paperwork and coordinating with the loan and all that? How does
And the
that,
compliance. Yeah, well,
Right.
that's
How do you do
where
it?
our team comes into play. My team manager is he plays a very key role in making sure that we do stay compliant and our clients are compliant with all the paperwork and the documentation, and making sure that everybody has signed off and that all the documents are correct and that we have what we need. Our buyer's agent steps in when we need help on each particular client, not just hers, but my clients as well, so that we don't miss anything. If a buyer needs to see a house and I'm not free, she can step in. And like I said, our team manager is awesome. We just had a new disclosure document come out that just went into play in September. So we had to change over all the disclosures on our listings and make sure that our buyers were signing correct disclosures. And so he had to go to each individual client, make sure that the new disclosures were signed and filed. So we all come together and make sure that it works together, and our team runs real well.
And as you're helping buyers, have you been serving any buyers, say, in the last, a couple months that have been outside of the state?
Yes, we have. We've brought a few. We've mostly worked lately with folks that are in town, but we have worked with a few that are coming in from out of state.
Any particular states other than California?
Well, we have worked with several from Illinois, with a particular large company, and then a few from Canada.
How about that? What part of Canada? On the east side or west? I used to go to Toronto all the time. I like it up there.
I know
actually.
one from Ontario.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, Velvet, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
Just that we're here to help. The Velvet Harris Group is here to serve our clients and their needs, and would love to help anybody out with their buying and selling needs.
Velvet, I don't know how many people are listening right now. 1,000,000, 1,000. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you this. I bet they're going to remember the name Velvet Harris.
I hope so.
And the number people can reach you, Velvet, is?
832-444-5652. 832-444-5652.
Velvet, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's welcome Greg Gray. He is the president of a company called the Loan Signing Agency. Greg, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Glad to be here.
Well, let's tell people. First of all, the name, the Loan Signing Agency, can be a lot of things, but let's tell them about your company and what you do.
Yes, it does seem to be confusing at times for people, but the bottom line is we provide loan signing agents to help people do their real estate closings, typically in the mobile setting.
So, and I understand, like with Stewart Title, you will help. In fact, just to make sure that people know loan signing, you're not providing loans. You're not in the mortgage business at all.
We are not lenders. No, we do not.
So let's lay that out there. But as far as what you are doing, like with Stewart Title, you're helping in the signing process. Let's tell people how that works.
Right. So the client, the signers will work with their real estate agent, who will tell the escrow officer at the title company that they, for whatever reason, can't make it into the title company to close. So then the title company needs to bring in somebody like our people to provide that closing, somebody who's specially trained to close a real estate transaction.
So when the closing, when everyone can show up, they're not going to use your company. But if they can't, that's when you come into play. Is that correct?
Correct. So like maybe they can't get off work, so they can only do it from, in their break room for lunch, during lunch. We've had we've done it on the back of a car in a parking lot, wherever it has to be done. That's where we do it.
Getting the job done.
The job done. Or 4:30 in the morning online for a service member in Austria.
Well, give us an idea. There must be a big enough market for this, because I'm thinking about all the closings, let's say it's Stewart Title that we have, but also then there's a certain percentage that are not being able to be closed at a title company office.
Yes, and it's more than you would think because of the convenience aspect of it.
So some people, even though they might be available, they want convenience.
Absolutely. No, we had a seller one time. This was their third or fourth selling transaction, and they said, we'll never go back into the title office because it's so much more convenient. And they're saying this, and we're doing their closing paperwork while the movers are bringing the last things out, and we all left the house at the same time. He locked it up, walked away, and drove off to Colorado.
So as you're helping people, you're doing this right here in Houston, Texas.
Well, we do it all over the country. We have notaries all over the country. But, yes, we do it here in the Houston area as well.
This is where you work, right?
Yeah, this is where I am.
Well, so then right now, as we think about all the end of the year and next year and all that, how do you see business and how's the market right now, let's say, for you?
Obviously, the market's more challenging for those that are in the market. If you have to buy a house right now, it's a challenge. It's a challenge for sellers because there are fewer buyers who can qualify. Thank goodness for all the investors. The investors are saving our bacon because they're getting the job done. There's a lot of investment traffic going on right now, a lot of transactions.
So that's a good thing.
It's a wonderful thing.
Well, there's many aspects to the real estate profession. How did you find this particular niche?
I backed into it by accident. I was significantly looking into becoming a real estate investor, and I was listening to all the podcasts, and I realized I listened to a podcast where a gentleman was discussing this business and realized, wait a minute, I've done this before, I could do that. And so I started putting it all together in 2019, and then COVID happened, and mobile notaries were out for about 3 months. That was the only way you could get a transaction done, was through a mobile notary.
So that was a boost in business.
It was amazing.
For your company.
Yes, it was absolutely amazing.
That's unreal. Well, give us an idea of some of the things that, does it take longer to do this in a remote fashion, or is it the same amount of time, it's just at a different place?
For the signer, it makes really very little difference. The only thing it does is it makes it more convenient for them. They're not going somewhere to sign, so they're not wasting that drive time. The signing is coming to them. So it saves them time. The actual signature process, it's the same. Whether it be an escrow officer or one of our closers, it's going to be pretty much the same process. The where they save is in the commute time.
So give us an idea, say, like when you're helping Stewart Title or Kevin Davidson brought you here today.
Sure.
In the Sugar Land and Richmond offices, which he serves. But give us an idea, how do you interface, let's say, take the Sugar Land Stewart Title office?
Mm-hmm. It depends on it. Sometimes it depends on the realtor. Sometimes it depends on the signer. Okay, the signer may not tell anybody till the very last second. Oh, by the way, I can't be at the closing. I've got to be somewhere. Sometimes it just doesn't get it doesn't get communicated. Usually, in a best case scenario, you're telling your escrow officer a week or 10 days ahead of time, I'm not going to be able to make it to closing, but I would like to have a mobile closing. And then that gives the escrow officer time to set it up. We have a portal that they can log into. It takes them about 2 or 3 minutes. If anyone can order from Amazon, they can order a notary on our website.
So then the escrow officer reaches out to you.
Correct.
Sounds like.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan. You all got it down.
Yes, sir. We even, in some cases, we can even integrate with their title software, and they don't ever have to leave their title software. They can order directly right out of their own software.
You are the president right here in Houston.
Correct.
And then as far as your team goes, you have several people here also in Houston?
We have 6 on our remote online notary team, and then we have somewhere in the neighborhood of about 400 notaries across the country. We've done signings in about 42 states.
We're talking with Greg Gray. The company is called the Loan Signing Agency. Well, give us an idea of some of the other things we should know, Greg, about what you're doing.
Yeah, so one of the things we do a lot, and this is where Kevin and I work a lot together, is because Stewart has a drive to provide education to realtors, and we'll team up with Kevin and the other business development officers and support them by sponsoring their education events, providing education to the different offices. And then Kevin and I have actually been working on another course, a CE course for realtors, helping the realtor prepare their clients for the closing.
In fact, one of the things, if you're doing work with Kevin, he'll make sure that he's blasted all over Facebook. That's why every time I turn around, there you are again on Facebook or at an event.
Absolutely.
That's great to get that brand out there.
Absolutely. No, Kevin is a marketing beast.
He is. He'll even get you on the radio, I heard.
It happens. Yes, it does.
It does happen on AM 9. Real Texas, real talk, like they say right here at KPRC.
950 AM.
There you are. You ought to be on the radio. Hey, so in the meantime, what else should we know, Greg, about the loan signing agency or anything else?
Well, the bottom line is, like so many of Stewart Title offices, their passion is getting people closed and getting the job done for them in a timely manner. And that's our focus. Our number one focus is providing a positive signing experience for everyone at the closing table, which includes not just the signers, but also the escrow officers, the real estate agents, lenders, everybody involved.
Well, one of the things, as far as it just came to mind, I was going to say, hey, what kind of hobbies do you have, Greg? But I'm thinking that you're probably even working sometimes on the weekend to be able to do these closings or not. How does that work?
I was actually working on some CE material last night. I scheduled a closing on Saturday. Yes, we unfortunately, our phones are very busy, and so we get calls and we get orders pretty much all through the weekend, pretty much every day.
So you could even be doing a closing on a Saturday morning.
On a Saturday morning. In fact, I have a remote online notary closing happening next Saturday morning with one of our Ron team members.
Do you see, let's just say business is steady as she goes, forget the interest rates or things like that, but just Let's say it's steady. When you look ahead to think of the growth of this particular niche that you're in, do you see that in years to come that there's going to be more remote closings or just the same amount that you're doing now? Do you see this as a growth situation?
It's definitely a growth industry. People want more convenience, and people have less time. They're moving at a much faster pace. And so anything they can do to save time, they're going to do it. And having a mobile closer come to them or closing online.
Providing convenience. That's so important.
That's
That's never going to get old, I don't think.
I don't think so, because I want my life more convenient, don't you?
As always, no doubt about it. Greg, let's tell people how they can reach you, Greg Gray, the Loan Signing Agency.
Yes, you can reach us on our line at 346-291-7467. That's 346-291-7467. You can also reach us at theloansigningagency.com. theloansigningagency.com.
Thank you so much, Greg Gray.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance, with a special focus on real estate and a focus on real estate brokers. Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is once again, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance. Welcome to the show, John.
Hello, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Well, here we go. Once again, insurance talk to make everybody feel good all around, everywhere. They're listening right here in Houston, Texas at the time of broadcast, or who knows where else.
Well, I'm sure if they're not listening at time of broadcast, which I'm sure most of us do, They're picking it up on the iHeartMedia app or at stewart.com/radio. And as I visit with realtors, especially over the last several weeks, everybody is talking about either what can I do to make the remainder of 2023 successful? How can I close the year out strong? Or what can I do to make sure that I kick off 2024 even better? So I just had been thinking about that, and I've been wanting to I've been focusing on the same thing for Stewart Insurance. What can I do to help our advisors close out 2023 as strong as possible and make sure that our 2024 begins equally strong? So I've been doing a little bit of reminding research, if that's a fair term, through some resources, and just kind of wanted to share a couple of things that I've come across that's helped me, and some of the things that maybe not quite in this language, but a lot of the realtors are using to be successful on the back half of the year.
Well, that sounds good, because even though we know the end of the year is near, as in 8 weeks or so, give or take, that doesn't mean we can't get more out of it or make it more beneficial, more meaningful to ourselves and to our clients and the people we serve.
Absolutely, and kind of the theme that goes through all these different conversations is, first and foremost, how can I provide value? How can I make sure that I'm providing value for my clients? The second thing that comes through is, from that, then how can I generate more business, whether that be more clients or expanded wallet share within the existing clients. So I've been going back to a couple of books that I've read. One I've read several times, Integrity Selling, that we've talked about on the show before.
It's on my shelf.
And then one by, it's a business novel by Jim Rohn and Chris Widener called 12 Pillars that I'm rereading. And then a new one that I've just recently read that was recommended by, in fact, Stewart Title Houston's district president, Max Van Natter, The Go for No. And some of the key things that have come out of this that's really, I think, is helpful is, one, as salespeople, and all three books will emphasize the fact that we're all salespeople, that we're all going to want to provide a positive influence in everybody that we deal with in our lives, whether it be both personally or professionally. But they talk about the fact that in many cases we close the sale before the client does, and so we assume that that's all the client's going to want. We assume that they're only going to want their home insurance, and maybe that they also need auto insurance, or we assume that the realtor or the broker only needs errors and omissions, but we didn't talk to them about cyber liability or general liability. And he gives a great example of early in his career, he was selling men's clothing. A gentleman came in and said, I need to do my new wardrobe. And he spent $1,100 on a new wardrobe, and he was very excited. District manager was there at the same time and asked him the question, what was your no? And he didn't understand what he meant. But what the salesperson didn't do was he allowed the customer to buy everything that he wanted to, but he never asked, did he want something else? He never said, do you want a pair of shoes with that? Or do you want another belt? Or do you need another tie? As salespeople, we make the mistake of ending the sale instead of letting the client end the sale. The other one that they talk quite a bit about is the law of large numbers, and this idea of you've got to get a lot of no's. So you've got to be able to ask a lot of people more often, more questions. And the more that you ask how I can help, how I can serve, the more people you ask how I can help, how I can serve, and the more often you ask people how I can help, how I can serve, the long term, the greater percentage of success that you have. So the example in the book for 12 Pillars is, if you're closing, let's say 10% of the people you talk to, which is going to be better, talking to 10 people or 40 people, or 40 people and 100 people? So again, the more that you can ask, the better opportunities you're going to have for greater closing. So that's really, I guess, really one of the keys that came out about it. And then the last one is this idea of we've got to be a person of talent and a person of virtue. And all that really means is that we're providing positive support and positive aspects for our clients. So if we're a person of talent and virtue, the only way that we can be talented and maintain that talent is continuing through self-improvement. So Jim Rohn talks about that your revenue is never going to exceed your personal development. that the only thing that's going to lead to greater revenue is greater personal development. So if I'm making John Bramlett a better advisor for our insurance clients, then our clients are going to benefit more from it. And then ultimately, I'm going to be able to generate more business. So I've got to make sure that I'm sincere in what I do, that I operate with integrity, but I also continually provide value for our clients.
I too read the book Go for No recently, and I find myself, the beauty of the book, number one, is to read it. It's very short, concise, and it gives you the message right away. But the thing that I've experienced is it's profound, simple, and I find myself thinking about it even though the weeks later, and it just doesn't apply to our business lives. Quite frankly, it applies to many categories, and it makes you start thinking, am I doing enough? Am I exploring this properly? Gee, if everyone's saying yes to me, something must be wrong,
Yes.
right? So if we don't get a couple no's, I mean, then you're maximizing it.
Well, one of the great examples is the idea of if people think about their child, and their child wants something, and if they get a no the first time, do they stop?
The kids never get no.
They never stop.
They've learned this.
Yes,
early on.
So we should never stop. But part of that not stopping is also asking more questions to make sure that we truly understand what that need is. Ron Willingham, who authored Integrity Selling, to me, he has the best definition of selling, and it's building relationships, meeting needs, and providing value. And if you do that with any relationship that you have in your life, whether it be your partner, your loved one, a child, a family member, a friend, a coworker, or a client, if you build relationships, meet needs, and provide value, you're going to have a successful life.
And of course, this time of year, all the times of the year, I mean, I think about this all the time in terms of self-improvement. What am I going to do next? How can I make this better? How can I provide more value in not just work, but all the things that I'm doing? But this is an excellent time of year to have this kind of discussion, to also remind people as you're at, good time to pick up a book. Like you're saying, you're reviewing some of the books that are the hits that you've enjoyed before. Sometimes we read a book and we get another couple different nuggets, or we're reminded from the same book, even though we already read it.
That's true. I've read Integrity Selling at least 3 times. And I always pick up something different. This is the second time for me to reread 12 Pillars. And there were chapters that I was like, I don't remember this.
Yeah.
Or it hit me, I hit me at the right time of my life now versus maybe I wasn't ready for the message then. So that was really, really helpful. But you're right. I mean, I do believe what Jim Rohn says is that your income will never exceed your personal development. So if you want to get to a certain level, you're going to have to invest in yourself in order to get to that level. He talks about investing more in yourself than in your job, because if you can make yourself a better individual, it's going to help the people you work with as well as the clients that you serve.
Not only that, Tom Carpentier, the president of Stewart Insurance, he is on a constant going forward to improve things at Stewart Insurance, the associates like you, and as people hear what you do in terms of self-improvement, how you're serving your clients, you're just one of the people at Stewart Insurance. I would say everyone is like-minded that I've dealt with there from the top down. Tom Carpentier, who loves this show, I know, and his vision was responsible for starting this thing in the beginning, but everybody shares that drive and the self-betterment, because you have meetings and talk about this too.
Well, one of our guiding principles is
that's the word I was looking for.
One of our guiding principles is to be a lifelong learner. So Tom is always sharing information with us, and we encourage our team to share information with us. So we're always having conversations back and forth about this insurance partner has changed this, or this insurance partner is now offering this as a service, or hey, there's been a change in what the application looks like. So make sure that you and your clients are aware of what's happening there. So there's always exchanges of information within the company, but again, one of the pillars that we have, the guiding principles that we have, is this idea of being lifelong learners. Well, if you'd like to be properly insured, and all that means is that you're comfortable with the coverage you have, whether you're an individual and you're concerned about your home insurance or wind, auto, flood, investment property, whether it be the renter or the holder of the investment property, we can help you be properly insured. And then from a business perspective, working with brokers, realtors, property management firms, lenders, independent title and attorney agents to make sure that they're properly insured, that they have their errors and omissions coverage, their general liability coverage, cyber coverage, commercial auto or commercial property. We can help with that as well.
The number is
866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. They can learn more about Stewart Insurance at stewartinsurance.com, or they can email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
Thank you so mumuch, John Bramlett.
Always a pleasure, Bill.
Stay close to your business development officer wherever you are, especially here in Houston, Texas, because we have a super team. They're called the A++++ team. Kevin Davidson is part of the team helping people in Sugar Land and Richmond. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. I'm glad to be here again.
Here we are. Once again, let's tell people what you want them to know right here this month on your appearance.
Well, everybody that knows me in the Fort Bend County area, Sugar Land, Richmond, Missouri.
And everyone knows you in the Fort.
Everybody does know me, yes, Bill. There's a lot of things going on from my two offices, and we're gearing up for 2024. My calendar's already starting to fill up as far as the CE classes that I teach, the outside vendors that teach. John Bramlett teaches for me, as well as teaching for some of the other BDOs. There's going to be a lot of things coming up next year. If you think my calendar was full this year, wait to see it till next year.
More Facebook posts all over the place. Well, Kevin, you're helping people in a tremendous way all the time. Let's tell people how to reach you in Sugar Land and or Richmond. Fort Bend.
Yes, sir. 832-654-0527 is my direct number, or you can email me at kevin.davidson@stewart.com.
The number again is
832-654-0527.
And, of course, people can tune into the YouTube channel.
Kevin's Corner, Real Estate from a Marketing Perspective is my podcast. I just recorded and uploaded episode number 26 yesterday.
Always great guests on the show.
And you know who taught me how to do most of that? Mr. Bill Knapik.
Right here?
Right here.
Played a small part. Kevin, thanks for being with us. And now, Jana McGuire is here. Hey, Jana, how are you?
Hello, doing great.
Well, let's tell people, Jana, you are helping people also at a different part of town than Kevin. Let's tell people where your office is.
I am in Clear Lake,
Clear Lake.
Houston. Mm-hmm.
And that's the one right near the Space Center. Not
Yes,
too far,
I'm right by NASA.
We know quite
area.
a few astronauts listen to the show. I get emails every now and then. They said business
You'll see them in the restaurants every once in a while.
That's right. I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Business is taking off, they say. But anyway.
They are. They're growing. They're building over there a lot of new buildings.
So as you mentioned that, I wonder how many people are relocating to work at the Space Center and the various other entities that are around there that deal with aerospace.
That's a good question.
We need to find that out.
I do. I need to dig into that a little bit and see what I can find out.
Because you're actually running into some of these people, like you're saying, at lunch and as you move around the area.
Yeah, and you never know when they might be looking for a home close to where they work.
That's right. I hear the astronauts' favorite title company is Stewart Title. One of them told me that. So
I
hope
love
that's
that. Yes,
that
I
is
need to
awesome.
meet them.
Well, also your calendar, you're filling up too and planning for next year.
I'm filling up. I am.
So give us an idea of some of the things you're going to be doing.
So I have a lot. I'm going to get to see you.
That's right.
That's awesome. I'm setting up classes to be with Kevin. And we also have, looking to do more one-on-ones with people. So a lot of realtors, I want to be able to help them grow their business and show them the tools that Stewart has to offer them and that they can help share and give back to their clients.
Sounds good, Jana.
Yes.
McGuire. Let's tell people how they can reach you.
They can reach me at my email, Jana, Jana, .McGuire, McGuire, @stewart.com. And my phone number is 832-244-3439.
One more time.
832-244-3439.
Thank you so much, Jana. And now,
Thank you.
Shelley Green with Anchored Properties is back. Shelley, welcome back. Let's tell people anything else you want them to know, Shelley, about what you're doing, your company, the investing, and all the different plates you seem to be juggling.
Yes, I'm juggling lots. I've never heard an investor say, I wish I had waited longer to invest. And the best time to buy a property is always 5 years ago. So I just encourage people to take the step, find out about investing, and why aren't you investing?
Well, that's a good point. So let's say there's someone that worked with you maybe on their first investment. Maybe you've coached them a little bit. They say, hey, I like what you're doing. Can I do that too? Right? That happens, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So let's take that particular individual. Do they come back and say, hey, I want to do it again?
I have had some do it again, yes.
I want another property in addition.
Yes, I have some that have bought multiple properties even this year. They started in March and they've bought another one since, and they've already got them rented, and they're just building equity.
I have a feeling that you might have a couple more things happening before the end of the year trying to get them in, right?
Yes.
That sounds good. Shelley Green, Anchored Properties. Let's tell people how to reach you.
281-222-8389. 281-222-8389.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thanks for having me.
It's time to talk once again to Velvet Harris. The Velvet Harris Group. Velvet?
Well, we're working with all kinds of buyers and sellers at the moment, and I know the market is different and going through a lot of changes, but there's lots of options for both buyers and sellers, and we work with lots of different lenders. We have lots of different contacts, and you've heard the term date the rate and marry the price. So at the moment, you can consider looking for a home, work with a lender to talk to options about different lending options, and then consider refinancing at a later time. There's different loan options out there for different buyers. Consider looking for a home if the time is right for you, or consider putting your home on the market if you're thinking about doing that for your personal situation. And talk to us. Let's see what we can do to help you out, see what the market's like in your particular area. Real estate's local, very local. So, different areas are going through different phases. And let's show you what's happening in your area and what we can do for you now, and then what we can do in the future.
Sounds like they need to call Velvet Harris. The number is
832-444-5652. 832-444-5652.
Velvet, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Greg Gray, the Loan Signing Agency.
Well, I think the most important thing is we are in fourth quarter of 2023, and it may be a challenging time, but there's no reason not to finish strong and get ready for 2024. And one of the best ways they can do that is by investing in themselves and getting some education and getting ready for it. And they need to partner with their Stewart Title local office to find out what education they can get, and then tune in with us and let us help them have a convenient closing.
Greg, let's tell people once again how they can reach you, Greg Gray.
They can reach us at 346-291-7467. That's 346-291-7467. And they can reach us at theloansigningagency.com.
Sign here. Did they ever say that?
No.
Okay. Only I said.
You say that, but that's, it's important. You're on the radio.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you all. I am your host, Bill Knapik, together with John Bramlett and all of us at Stewart Title and Stewart Insurance. We appreciate you listening, and we'd be honored at Stewart Title to be stewards of your real estate transaction. Just go to Stewart.com, find the closest office. Also find your closest business development officer, as they're there to help. They are resources for you right here in Houston, Texas, the many that we have, but also all around the United States, as we are an international company traded on the New York Stock Exchange as STC, Stewart.com. And to see and hear the show, just go to Stewart.com/radio. That's Stewart.com/radio. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.